Once upon a time, there was a warrior everyone admired. His kung fu skills were so good, no one could beat him. He traveled far and wide looking for strong opponents. One day he faced someone unusual, a loud eater. Confident as ever, the warrior shouted, "Let's fight," and jumped into action. His moves were so amazing that even the bravest people were left speechless. Everyone respected him, including the famous Furious Five warriors, who bowed to him in admiration. But just as the warrior thought everything was perfect, trouble came. A massive army of demons appeared, ready to fight. Suddenly, a loud voice called, "Po, wake up! You're going to be late for work." It was all just a dream. Po, a clumsy panda, was lying in his room. His father, a duck who owned a noodle shop, wasn't happy. "What were you doing up there?" he asked. Po quickly replied, "I had a crazy dream about noodles." His father smiled, thinking Po was ready to learn the family's secret soup recipe. Po didn't want to disappoint him, so he played along. While his father dreamed of passing down the noodle shop, Po's heart was elsewhere. He wanted more than just noodles. "Didn't you ever wish to do something else?" he asked. His father admitted he once thought about making tofu but gave up. "We all have our place in the world," he said. Po, however, was helping at the shop while dreaming of adventure. Meanwhile, at the Jade Palace, Master Shifu was busy training the Furious Five when he got terrible news. Tai Lung, a powerful and dangerous fighter, was about to escape from prison. Shifu rushed to strengthen the prison's defenses, but Master Oogway, the wise tortoise, stayed calm. "Sometimes the path we take to avoid something leads us right to it," Oogway said. He believed it was time to pick the dragon warrior, the one destined to protect the valley. Everyone in the village gathered at the palace to see who would be chosen. But still dreaming of something amazing, wanted to go too. But he was stuck at the noodle shop helping his father. Desperate to see the event, Po came up with a plan. He quickly cleared out all the customers from the restaurant and hurried off to the Jade Palace, excited for what might happen next. Po's father gave him a noodle cart and told him to sell noodles at the tournament. Po couldn't say no, so he took it along. When he arrived at the mountain, his eyes widened in shock. There were so many stairs stretching high into the sky. Determined, he started climbing, but it was exhausting. Before he could reach the top, the tournament had already started. When Po finally made it to the top, he saw the big doors were closed. "Wait, I'm here," he shouted, but no one heard him. The crowd inside was cheering loudly as the Furious Five stepped forward. Po, desperate to see what was happening, tried peeking through a small hole in the wall, but it didn't work. Thinking fast, Po came up with a wild idea. He grabbed some fireworks and tied them to himself, planning to launch into the arena. Just as he was about to light the fireworks, his father showed up and tried to stop him. But before they could argue, the fireworks exploded. Po shot up into the sky, spinning wildly, and then came crashing down, right in the middle of the tournament. The crowd gasped in surprise. Master Oogway, the wise old tortoise, saw something special in Po. To everyone's shock, he pointed at Po and said, "Him?" The audience was stunned. Even Master Shifu couldn't believe it and thought it was a mistake. But Oogway smiled and said, "There are no accidents." Just like that, Po was chosen as the dragon warrior. Master Shifu and the Furious Five were speechless. They couldn't understand how someone like Po could be the chosen one. Meanwhile, at Chorgam prison, guards were put on high alert. The messenger had brought troubling news. Tai Lung, a dangerous fighter, was being closely watched. Locked deep inside the mountain, Tai Lung was kept in a fortress built to be impossible to escape. Back in the Valley of Peace, Po struggled to believe he was the dragon warrior. Feeling lost, he wandered into the sacred Hall of Warriors. His eyes lit up as he saw all the legendary treasures. For the first time, he started to think that maybe this was his destiny. But doubt lingered in Po's heart, and everyone around him doubted him too. Still, Master Oogway stood firm. He believed in Po, saying the universe had chosen him for a reason. Po tried to act confident, joking around and asking for glue when he got a splinter. Master Shifu wasn't impressed. "So, you're the dragon warrior?" he asked skeptically. Po nervously replied, "I guess so," but Shifu dismissed the idea, saying Po wasn't the dragon warrior until he earned the dragon scroll. Curious, Po asked how to get the scroll, suggesting silly ideas like using a ladder or trampoline. Shifu scoffed, saying it wasn't that simple. Po would need to master kung fu first, which seemed impossible for someone like him. Shifu mocked Po's soft belly and flabby arms, making Po feel a little embarrassed. Shifu then demonstrated the wuxi finger hold, a powerful technique that made Po panic. "Don't use it," Po begged, knowing it could be dangerous. Shifu smirked and teased, "The hardest part is cleaning up afterward." Shifu led Po to the training room, where the Furious Five were sparring and training hard. Po stared in awe at their strength and skill, wondering how he could ever fit in with warriors like them. But his journey had just begun. Po's training began, but it was clear he wasn't ready. When Master Shifu told him to start, Po nervously asked if they could begin at level 0. Master Shifu chuckled and said, "There's no such thing." Po stepped up to punch the training dummy, but it hit him back, sending him flying. He stumbled around the training ground, struggling at every turn. Po blamed his failures on being full from his last meal and bragged about moves that didn't work. The Furious Five stood nearby, unimpressed. Master Shifu sighed. Training Po was going to be easier than he thought, not because Po was improving but because Po kept failing so spectacularly. The Furious Five whispered to each other, wondering why Master Oogway had chosen someone like Po. To them, Po's dramatic arrival didn't mean he belonged there. Later, Po tried to chat with the Furious Five, hoping to make friends, but one of them bluntly told him he didn't fit in and even kicked him out of the room. Feeling humiliated, Po admitted to himself that maybe they were right. Doubts filled his mind, and for a moment he considered giving up and going back to making noodles. Just as he was about to quit, Master Oogway appeared. With his wise and calming voice, Oogway encouraged Po. "Don't worry about the past or the future. Focus on the present. That is the key to finding your strength." Po felt a flicker of hope and decided not to give up. Meanwhile, at Chorgam prison, chaos erupted. Tai Lung, the feared villain, had found a way to escape. Using a single duck feather, he picked the lock on his chains. The guards fired arrows and even giant arrows at him, but Tai Lung used them to his advantage. He broke his chains, climbed the mountain walls with the arrows, and fought every guard that stood in his way. Tai Lung defeated all the guards and finally escaped. Before leaving, he growled at the messenger, "Tell them the true dragon warrior is coming home." Back at the temple, Master Shifu went to check on Po, expecting to find him gone. To his surprise, Po was still there trying to train on his own. Po even attempted a full split to impress everyone but got stuck and needed help to get out. Though his efforts were clumsy, it showed he wasn't giving up. Master Shifu decided to push Po harder. First, the Furious Five demonstrated their skills, starting with Tigress, who knocked Po to the ground effortlessly. They sparred with Po, but he kept failing. Master Shifu grew frustrated and began to teach Po himself, delivering tough lessons through sparring. Each failure left Po bruised but determined to keep trying. That evening, Po and the Furious Five reflected on the past. They talked about Tai Lung, who had once been Shifu's most promising student. Shifu had believed Tai Lung was destined for greatness and trained him with love and care. But when Master Oogway didn't choose Tai Lung to become the dragon warrior, Tai Lung became angry. He attacked Shifu and Oogway had to step in to stop him. Tai Lung was imprisoned deep within the mountain, but his betrayal left a scar on Shifu's heart. Now, with Tai Lung free, there was hope that Po might be the true dragon warrior. But Master Shifu wasn't sure if Po could rise to the challenge. A messenger from the prison arrived with the grim news. Tai Lung had escaped and was returning to claim the dragon scroll. Fear filled Master Shifu's heart. He went to Master Oogway, who was meditating. Oogway, as calm as ever, reminded him, "There are no accidents." He urged Shifu to have faith in Po and to teach him with an open heart. Master Oogway then handed his legendary staff to Shifu, a symbol of trust and wisdom. Moments later, Oogway ascended to the heavens, leaving Shifu with the heavy task of preparing Po for the battle ahead. At the dining room table, Po was cracking jokes about Master Shifu, playfully mimicking the way he talked and how he trained his students. The Furious Five chuckled along, but their laughter stopped abruptly when Master Shifu suddenly appeared. Po, still enjoying his food and unaware of the seriousness of the moment, was startled when Shifu told him about Tai Lung's escape. The danger was real and the time to prepare was short. Overwhelmed with doubt, Po panicked and ran away from the mountain, feeling unworthy of the titled Dragon Warrior. But Master Shifu found him and stopped him. Shifu told Po that he believed in him and promised to train him to become stronger, a true Dragon Warrior. While this was happening, the Furious Five decided to face Tai Lung themselves. They headed toward the valley of the mountain, determined to stop him before he reached the temple. The next morning, Shifu went looking for Po to begin training. To his surprise, Po was full of energy, chasing after food. Shifu watched as Po climbed to great heights effortlessly, all because he wanted to reach something to eat. Inspired, Shifu realized that food could be the key to motivating Po. Training resumed, but this time it was different. Instead of traditional methods, Shifu used food to encourage Po. Po struggled but remained excited, showing determination to improve. Over time, Shifu adapted his training style, finding ways to help Po grow stronger while keeping him motivated. One day, after a long session, Shifu playfully dangled a dumpling in front of Po. Po's skills were improving, and the two shared a fun, light-hearted moment. Po began to realize that learning Kung Fu wasn't just about strength, it was about heart and focus. Meanwhile, in the valley of the mountain, the Furious Five prepared to face Tai Lung. They tried to cut down the bridge to trap him, but Tai Lung was too quick. Tigress launched a swift attack, and the five joined forces to fight him. Together they managed to knock him off the bridge. For a moment they thought they had won. But Tai Lung used the ropes of the bridge to swing himself back up and launched a counterattack. Using a secret technique, he struck their pressure points, leaving them paralyzed. Po and Shifu returned from training just in time to find the five lying unconscious on the ground. Po was horrified, fearing the worst, but they reassured him they were still alive. They warned Po about Tai Lung's immense strength and how he had become even more dangerous. Seeing his friends defeated shook Po's confidence. If the Furious Five with all their skill couldn't stop Tai Lung, how could he, an ordinary panda, stand a chance? But Master Shifu reminded Po that he was special in his own way. Shifu's belief in him gave Po a small spark of hope. Later, Po turned to the Dragon Scroll, curious about the great power it was said to hold. But when he opened it, he was stunned to find it blank. Confused and discouraged, Po started to doubt himself even more. Maybe the choice of him as the Dragon Warrior had been a mistake. But Shifu reminded him that true strength comes from within and that believing in himself was the key to unlocking his potential. Tai Lung was closing in, fueled by anger and vengeance. He blamed Shifu for denying him his destiny and demanded the Dragon Scroll. Shifu, ready to protect it at any cost, stood his ground, even if it meant facing Tai Lung's fury alone. The ultimate showdown was about to begin. Po returned to his house, feeling down and ready to leave the village for good. His father greeted him warmly and tried to cheer him up, talking about their noodle shop. But Po, still feeling unsure of himself, confessed his doubts. He didn't know where he truly belonged. Seeing his son's sadness, his father decided to share a long-kept secret, the secret ingredient of their special soup. The truth? There was no secret ingredient. His father explained, "You just have to believe it's special." This revelation lit a spark in Po. He realized that greatness wasn't about discovering a magical secret but about believing in yourself. With this newfound understanding, Po regained his confidence. Meanwhile, at the temple, Tai Lung confronted Master Shifu, demanding the Dragon Scroll. Shifu, torn between his role as a master and his feelings for Tai Lung, hesitated. He had raised Tai Lung from a baby and couldn't bring himself to fight with full force. Tai Lung took advantage of this and defeated Shifu. With Shifu weakened, Tai Lung turned his attention back to the scroll, ready to claim it. But before he could, Po arrived and stepped forward. "I am the Dragon Warrior," Po announced boldly. Tai Lung, surprised and amused, mocked him, pointing out Po's lack of experience. The fight began, and though Tai Lung was fierce, Po surprised everyone with his unique kung fu techniques. They battled fiercely, tumbling together from the mountain to the ground below. As the fight continued, the Dragon Scroll was knocked out of reach and landed on the top of a building. Both Po and Tai Lung raced to retrieve it. Po, imagining the scroll as food, climbed effortlessly to the top. He grabbed the scroll, but Tai Lung knocked him down with a powerful kick. When Tai Lung finally held the scroll in his hands, he opened it with anticipation, only to find it blank. Shocked and furious, he demanded to know the meaning. Po calmly explained, "There is no secret ingredient. It's just you." This shattered Tai Lung's illusions and his rage boiled over. In his anger, Tai Lung used his secret technique to block all the veins in Po's body. But instead of feeling pain, Po just laughed. His fluffy panda body made the attack useless. Using his own creative's panda style, Po fought back, catching Tai Lung by the tail and overpowering him with his playful yet effective moves. Finally, Po unveiled his ultimate move, the Wuxi finger hold. With a single flick of his finger, he sent Tai Lung into defeat. The valley erupted in celebration. The villagers cheered as their true dragon warrior stood victorious. Even the Furious Five bowed to Po, recognizing his strength and courage. Later, Po returned to the temple to see Master Shifu. Exhausted but peaceful, Shifu looked at Po with pride. "You've done well, Po," he said. Po, feeling both humbled and grateful, smiled at his mentor. As they sat together, Po's journey as the dragon warrior felt like it was just beginning. But for now, he turned to Shifu and said, "How about we grab something to eat?" They laughed, enjoying the simple joys of life after a hard-earned victory.